Right, this is part 5 now. So yeah, I was talking about the video, right? So I can give you an example of this. So I had a guy that come along, very, very angry guy. He was, he'd been in prison for, well, basically nearly killing someone. And had an important job. He was kind of high up the chain, if you like, in a very deadline-driven environment. And he was sort of, you know, had a lot of people working underneath him, and he was getting in trouble at work for losing his temper with his staff. So he came to counselling to try and deal with the aggression. And so there was 2 things that was interesting, right? The first one was he'd already been sent by work on these off-site things. So, you know, go away for a weekend, you know, or like a day, you know, do all these like anger exercises and team building things, all this, designed specifically to help managers deal with their anger. And he said it was fucking brilliant, right? Really good, loads of good information, but made no difference whatsoever. So we're going back to the brushing your teeth 2 minutes a day versus like, you know, never doing it at all. Because that doesn't give him something to do on a daily basis that would regulate what he was doing. So I introduced him to the concept of a guy called Jocko Willink, who's really good with this sort of thing, like anger and that. He's an ex-Marine. He's built like a tank, you know. He looks like fucking a Street Fighter character. But he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant, and he does a lot of good videos about anger because he sort of says how, you know, showing your emotions is a sign of weakness and in certain areas, and it just shows that you can't control them, which means we can't trust you and all that. So I gave him a couple of them to have a watch of, and sort of said, you know, basically, mate, like whenever you get into that point where you're feeling like that's about to go and watch one. Like, take yourself away from the situation and go and watch one. And it had a double impact. So I think the first impact is obviously it gets him away from the situation before he reacts and then gets himself in trouble. And the second one was that he watches the video, he understands his emotions a little bit better, and then he can go back into the situation a little bit calmer. That worked for him. That's all he needed, was that. And I'm not even joking. You know, I could fucking swear down like that changed things. And not only that, but his wife was previously a client of mine, and she had told me about his aggression and everything when I was seeing her, and that's how I ended up seeing him, because she sort of passed my number on to him and he came here. And she texted me and said, look, he's got so much better because he was bringing work home with him. Like where he was wound up at work, he was sort of coming home, taking it out on me because he'd had a shit day. And he's not doing that anymore because he's not had a shit day, because he's not getting in trouble for having to go at people and taking things too far. So that was so far reaching. It was amazing work that he did, you know. And I'm, again, not taking credit for that. You know, that's him that's doing that. I hate, this is another thing, right? This bothers me when I see counsellors that put these things up going, oh, you know, as a result of what I'm doing, this person, and I just think, you don't know the first thing about counselling. You know, the person who's the client is the one that is doing the work, right? They're the one that's going out there doing the hard work, the stuff that takes time, the stuff that takes energy, the stuff that takes effort, and the things that they really don't want to do, you know, and they don't want to do them a lot of the time. And that's kind of a bit of a paradox to people, because they come to counselling like, look, man, I want to get better, but I don't, for some reason, when it comes to it, I don't want to do it. I don't want to fucking do that thing. It's like, look mate, it's all right. You know, you crack on. You keep going. You know, you can do it. You just try again, man. Like every midnight, reset, start again. Get up in the morning, watch your video, tick along the day, and then we look at the little things that you can do as well. So the video's not the only thing. And I have to be honest, I mean, with this fella, you know, I probably would have gone a bit further with him than that and tried to help him so he didn't have to watch the video and he could deal with his emotions in the first place. But to be honest, I think, you know, he don't need that. You know, he'll figure that out himself with time, I believe, you know, and if he don't, then he'll be back. But I don't think so. I think he's you know, he's going to crack that. And that's it, right? So it's personal agency. It's like you look at your life, fine, right? You look at all the stuff that's happened, fine. You know, all them things that I've done, and there's, you know, there's more as well, you know, obviously. You know, but I don't want to be a poor me, like, oh, my childhood was shit, so that's why I'm a prick now, you know? Like, no, I want to think, okay, so I've learned how to not do it, man. Like, I've learned how to not go down that route. I've learned that, you know, and I'm going to make sure that I pay that forward to the people that I see, the people that I work with, you know, and be real with them. I'm not one of these people, I don't ever want to be one of these people, because it's another thing that gets on my nerves. You get these people that they do a weekend course in mindfulness, and all of a sudden they're doing mindfulness videos like there's some expert on it, right? It's bollocks. You get people that have done their hours at college and they've worked in a school for 6 weeks, and all of a sudden they specialise in working with bloody kids. You know, don't specialise in anything after that amount of time. You need to be doing this job for years before you can say that you specialise in anything. You know, and that bothers me because I'm passionate about this job, because I see so many people that come to counselling from other counsellors where they say to me, I've got so much out of this first session, and all I've done is explain some basic stuff to them. I haven't gone into like loads of detail with them or anything. And I think, what the fuck did you get from the last person? You know, I had a poor girl coming here a little while ago, and I'd say poor girl because I did feel like she didn't know that there was another bloody way of counselling. Because you see people, I think they see it like a GP, you know, like go to counselling and they're all going to work the same. So if one don't work, another one ain't going to work either, because no one explains that there's different ways of doing it. No one explains that, well, hang on a minute, you've been coming for 6 sessions and you made no improvement whatsoever. Should we try another type of therapy? Maybe another counsellor. Are you finding this okay? What's this like for you? Don't get all that. It's like money, money, money. You know, some of these people are charging like, you know, 60 quid, 70 quid, 80 quid an hour. They've been doing the job like a month. And it just, you know, so there's I do believe there's a real problem with counselling in general. And I think that when people talk about this mental health stigma, that's one of them. You know, you got all these like people that post their stuff on Facebook and it looks like they think they're an expert. And to be honest with you, this is one of the reasons why I don't do massive amounts with my page, because I don't want to come under that bracket. I don't want to look like I'm one of them people. I'm not one of those people. But putting that across online, really, really hard to put across what you're actually doing. You know, like these videos are nowhere near, I don't believe anyway, they're anywhere near as good as what I am when I'm working with people in the room, because this is just me talking to a fucking phone. I'm not bouncing off anybody. It's really hard to sort of put across the way that I work with people. So I always struggle with it, you know. But it's like I say, I like to think that at times it's the collective voice of all the people that I've spoken to, all the people that have made a difference in their life, all the people that have done things and carried themselves forward in their life, to share that with people so that they get an opportunity to see the way that these theories work from examples. You know, obviously never getting too personal because I don't want to give anyone's identities away or anything. But then I've got to include myself in that. You know, I've got to be fucking vulnerable. You know, I think it's good to be vulnerable. I don't think it's a bad thing. I've got the humility to tell you that I used to be a liar, that I used to do things that I couldn't trust, people wouldn't be able to trust me for, that I used to do deceitful things, that I used to be a bit of a knob sometimes, you know, that I used to treat people badly sometimes, I used to lie to my friends. Well, I can say all that. I'm not proud of it. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, no, great, because I did that. But what I'm saying is, we all fuck up. We're all a product of our past. We're all a product of our environment. We're all a product of our family. We're all a product of the school that we go to and the peers and all that, you know. But it doesn't matter. What matters is what you decide to do with it when you're that product, right? Because you're never the fucking finished article, you know. You might be the finished article. Well, I would argue you're never going to be the finished article, actually. So I'm not going to say that, you know. So what you want to do is continuously work to make yourself a better article, all right? And I'm going to end this here because that's another thing. I think if I carry on, I'm going to end up ranting about something. So, take it easy.